Well, listen, if you don't have anything to say, you blab. You just go on and 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 on.
Voters do not agree with these despicable women on The View. They are wildly out of touch with the vast majority of Americans, and frankly, they should seek immediate.
Here's the deal. When a discussion runs out of substance, it turns into endless rambling. That's what often happens on The View. The hosts feel completely disconnected from the majority of viewers, yet they keep pushing the same talking points. Whoopi Goldberg has led the show for years, directing the conversations, shutting down dissent, and presenting her perspective as absolute truth. But in one surprising moment, her steady control over daytime TV slipped, and it was all thanks to Karoline Leavitt. Nobody expected it. The episode started like any other. Laughter, side comments, and a panel aligned with the usual agenda.
She's probably been put in there because according to Donald Trump, she's a 10. You know that's what it is.
I want to be clear, though, it's not her first job. It was her first press briefing. She worked in the previous Trump administration.
Whoopi, confident as always, leaned back, ready to dominate another debate. Then came the topic of wokeness, a concept the panel often frames as untouchable, almost foundational to the show's identity. Whoopi jumped in first with her trademark smirk. She pointed at Karoline and said, "Without wokeness, you wouldn't even have this job." Just like that, the energy in the room shifted. The audience tensed. Even Joy Behar, usually quick with jokes, shifted in her chair. What came next felt predictable, but this time, things didn't go the way Whoopi planned.
I'm going to stop this interview if you continue to attack my colleagues. I would like to talk about Joe Biden and Donald Trump, who you work for.
I am stating facts that your colleagues have stated in the past.
Okay,
now, as
I'm
for
sorry,
this
guys.
debate,
We're going to come back out to the panel. Karoline, thank you very much for your time.
That was so good.
The atmosphere grew tense. Whoopi's remark wasn't just casual. It seemed to dismiss Karoline's entire career, her intelligence, and her accomplishments as nothing more than the result of an ideology. It was sharp and dismissive, and while the audience clapped out of habit, there was a sense of unease. Still, Karoline didn't flinch. She didn't scramble for words or try to fire back with empty lines. Instead, she smiled, a calm, steady smile that suggested confidence. She knew she had the facts and composure to turn the moment around. And that's exactly what she did.
In a statement afterwards, this young lady claimed her, quote, on-air snub proves that you-know-who will not be treated fairly in the upcoming debate. Now, do you think this is going to make people doubt whether CNN can stay objective, or is this more the same of, everybody's against me, it's all rigged, I tell you. Is everything rigged?
No, it's their MO. That's what they do. Rachel Maddow said last week, she's like, if the election is lost, it was rigged. If there's a debate, then the moderators are probably biased and they're prejudiced against.
Karoline began laying out hard facts, numbers, reports, and data that couldn't be brushed aside with a laugh. She cited government spending reports showing tax dollars going toward unusual programs, such as gender studies in Guatemala or activist-driven projects abroad. With precision, she explained how what's often called wokeness had shifted from a social movement into a political tool, one used to influence, silence, and pressure those who disagreed. Suddenly, the tone of the room shifted. For the first time, Whoopi wasn't smiling.
Disgusting speech that any president, certainly in my lifetime, has ever given. He essentially waged war on half of the country by saying that we are all a threat to democracy because we believe in putting America first. It's not radical to want to put your country and your own people first. It's not radical to want to have a strong border, a strong military, and to unleash the might of your own economy, not economies around the world.
This was unusual. Whoopi, who built her reputation on steering conversations and overwhelming her guests, found herself on the defensive. She shifted in her seat, her expressions betraying discomfort. Normally, guests fumbled while Whoopi delivered quick retorts, but this time, Karoline kept control. Whoopi opened her mouth to respond, then paused, then tried again, but the words didn't come. The audience, usually ready to cheer, sat frozen. Even the camera crew seemed unsure whether to zoom in or cut to a break. It was clear. Karoline had turned the tables.
You know, we have seen cultural Marxism trickling its way through every institution in this country. The public school system, the higher education university system, Hollywood, big tech, the corrupt mainstream media that I fought against in President Trump's White House are indoctrinating my generation of Americans into hating our country, hating one another based on race and gender and all of this other BS.
Watching the exchange play out was eye-opening. Whoopi's comments, usually framed as strong comebacks, came across as shallow compared to Karoline's evidence-based points. It raised questions about how someone with such influence on daytime TV could continue offering so little substance in debates. After so many years in the spotlight, you might expect more thoughtful engagement. Yet here, the weakness of that approach was on full display.
Well, you know, listen, if you don't have anything to say, you blab. You just go on and 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 on. Right. That's what you hear. Yeah. When they don't have anything to hold you with, nothing to make you think about what they have to say.
And then came the internet. Social media lit up instantly with clips, memes, and commentary. Whoopi's reaction was replayed over and over. This wasn't her first controversial moment on the show. Past remarks had sparked backlash too. Over the years, The View has faced criticism for crossing lines in commentary, leading to heated debates about accountability. But this time was different. Karoline had directly challenged Whoopi on air, and the response online amplified the fallout.
They talk at you, not to you, and that's what she was doing, and she was doing it, and it's not new.
No.
But everybody's hip to you all now.
Yeah.
And we are anticipating that you are not prepared. Because you keep saying you going and you preparing when you're on the trail.
Viewers found it refreshing to see a guest hold steady under pressure, presenting facts with clarity. Instead of the usual scripted back and forth, this was real pushback, and audiences noticed. It felt like a rare moment where the conversation wasn't completely one-sided.
On this program yesterday, Joy Behar stirring the pot of controversy after saying this about Karoline.
She's probably been put in there because according to Donald Trump, she's a 10. You know that's what it is.
Do you want to take this?
So you cannot be attractive and smart? I will try to give Joy the benefit, and thank you. I try to give Joy the benefit of the doubt that she didn't see that briefing. Because if you saw that yesterday on numerous topics, no big binder, I think she might have had a different impression of this young woman who held her.
Karoline's command of statistics and policy impressed many, while Whoopi's recent track record seemed harder to defend. Her career started strong in entertainment, but her role on The View has increasingly been defined by controversy rather than constructive dialogue. At this point, her presence seemed more tied to seniority than to fresh contributions.
I mean, you would have to give her the benefit of the doubt that she did absolutely no research or reading about anything dealing with Karoline Leavitt before she made that remark. Because Karoline Leavitt she went to St. Anselm College. She worked for WMUR in New Hampshire. She ran for Congress at the age of 25, put out a very good campaign.
Past controversies added fuel to the fire. Reports have surfaced over time that certain heated moments on the show were not accidental, but rather encouraged to drive ratings. When these details leaked, it painted a picture of a program more interested in shock value than in real discussion. Combined with past disputes involving high-profile figures, the reputation of The View began to shift, not as a reliable forum for debate, but as a lightning rod for controversy.
She lost by 8 or 9 points, but she still put on a good campaign. Then she was the press secretary for the Trump campaign, going on TV literally every day.
Well, heavily pregnant and a new mom.
Yeah, she's a new mother. And then she goes out yesterday and gives again, this is speaking very objectively, because I've watched every press secretary since going back to Marlon Fitzwater. And she went out there for her very first briefing at the age of 27 years old, the youngest press secretary ever, and did a terrific job.
That's why Karoline's appearance resonated. She didn't back down, didn't resort to name-calling, and relied on evidence rather than emotion. In that sense, she stood out as the one pushing for accountability, while the panel struggled to regain footing.
Yeah.
I would like this young lady this is her first job, I would like her to do a little homework. Because she said something yesterday that really pissed me off. And that was, she said, there will be no wokeness here.
Oh, yeah.
Let me explain something to you. Because without that wokeness, you might not have that job.
Yeah.
Because women were not invited to that table. Women were not invited to many tables in this nation.
Eventually, Whoopi's long tenure on the show came to an unexpected turning point. Following her on-air clash with Karoline and the growing backlash, ABC announced a break. But many suspected it was more than that. Advertisers had grown wary, sponsors were rethinking their support, and loyal viewers started questioning the show's direction. With Whoopi gone, The View faces a crossroads. Keep the same formula or finally shift in a new direction? Is this the beginning of the end for the show as we know it? Let us know what you think in the comments.